Hi, my name is Nathan Clarkson, and I'm going to go over some questions today I think are really important. And I think they're big questions, and I think they're questions that are very worthy of being asked. And the one that always comes to my mind when you talk about the big questions of life, and the one that I always hear, and the one that I wrestle with daily with my faith, is why would a good God allow suffering? And I know this can be a tough question for people of faith, and one that we want to move past quickly and just kind of ignore or use some isms to explain away. But I think it's an important question, and I think if we delve into it, we can find more of the character of who God is and why He actually does allow suffering. So, the question I want to ask is after the question, why would God allow suffering, is why would a perfect God allow sin if it causes hurt and pain, right? So I think the thing we have to do first is define what is sin, what is evil. In science, we see there's no such thing as cold or dark. This is a famous meme you've probably seen floating around, and it's been attributed to Einstein and other people. Essentially it says there is no such thing as cold and dark, only the absence of warmth and light. So I think, in essence, it's a possibility that there is no such thing as sin, and maybe sin is only the perversion of something good, that everything in existence is designed, that is if you take the view of intelligent design, and that sin isn't its own thing, isn't a whole other thing, there isn't good and evil, rather anything evil is just a perversion of something good. To evidence this, look at the world around us. Every sin is a perversion of something good. Think of your favorite sin, or the one you struggle with the most. It really, if you look far enough in the future, it is a desire for something good. Father Giussani and C.S. Lewis talked about it's not that we desire too much; it's that we don't desire enough. That oftentimes we will come up short, and we will answer these desires with something that's less than the full realization of the desire of what the design has caused us to be. So perhaps sin isn't its own thing, but rather it's a perversion of something good, or it's a falling short of something good. It's something that isn't fully realized. So sin is just the twisted look, the twisted object of something that is ultimately good. So we can say right there that God didn't create evil, rather He created everything to be good, and through free choice and free will, we were the ones who perverted what was already good into something bad. But there is no such thing as evil, there's only such thing as perverted good. Why do we have a world with perversion of good? The short answer, as I alluded to a second ago, is free will. God created us in His image, and part of the good design of the universe was creating beings that, like Him, in His image, could make their own choices, could make decisions about how to live their life, how to exist with the bodies they were given, and the time they were given, and the space they were given. And oftentimes that looks like taking the design He created perfectly and using it for our own selfish goals, and using it for what we think would be best, which perverts it into something sinful, into something broken, into something that can cause suffering. Like every musician has the ability to play music of the conductor, they also have the ability to play off tune, to their own tune. And when you have a lot of people playing to their own tunes, off tune, you get perversion, you get discord. So even though that no note is necessarily wrong, if it's played at the wrong time in the context of a symphony that was meant to be played a certain way, it is wrong and it is discord. And that's what sin comes in. Sin is a decision of free beings playing their own song against the good and perfect Creator, against the one the good and perfect Creator has designed. So that's how the question of how there is bad in the world, if there's a good God, but what is the hope? Where do we go from here? The hope in this, in the same way, God gives us a choice. It goes back to the choice that we've been given because we are His people, and we're created in His image. So the choice we have is that He's given us, He's given His life to give us, is that the designer of the universe has created a way for us to choose that even in our discord, even though we have chosen to go a different way, even though we have chosen to pervert the goodness He's created, that we can be a part of the redemption through Him, that we can allow Him to redeem us and redeem our negative decisions, redeem the perversion and destruction we've caused. So that equals into saying, yes, there is suffering. We have to acknowledge that, but we can be a part of making that suffering turn into something beautiful, turn back into the way it was designed, go back to the place that God has created the world and us to be. So in conclusion, God created the world perfectly. God created us with free will. We perverted the perfect world God created. God stepped in and gave us a choice to be a part of the world that would be made new. Meaning, no matter what suffering, no matter what brokenness we experience, because of God's choice, because of the decision He made to be involved in us, to redeem His perfect creation that we have perverted, we have a choice to be made new and to see our lives conform to what they were always meant to be. My name is Nathan Clarkson. Thank you so much for listening.